this is how to make chicken fajitas. You can use any lean meat that cooks quite quickly, so pork fillet's quite a good one to use, and that's quite cheap as well. It's like the fillet of a pork, and you can get that from most supermarkets. Very lean, not much fat on it. Chicken or corn, or you can just do a variety of vegetables and do vegetable fajitas. This is a really versatile recipe because you can also, once you've done fajitas, you can even make them into enchiladas, which is just extra tin tomatoes or passata at the bottom and over the top, and just cheese and bake them in the oven. So it's one of those dishes that's really versatile. And of course you can put things like rice in it, or salad, or just a few chips before you roll them up in the wrap. So first thing, I'm going to make a homemade spice mix, but if you wanted to, you can buy a packet. This is one example of a packet of fajita mix. And you can get different heats, and it's all down to the chilli really, so you can get mild to hot, and it's how much chilli flakes or how much chilli powder it's got in it. So if you buy the seasonings, it's more expensive to begin with, but then it ends up cheaper in the end because you're using them several times, but it's really personal taste. So all I'm going to put into here is a teaspoon of paprika, and put a bit more in. This gives it the red taste, and you can just adapt your seasonings to what you like really. Ground coriander, can't get my spoon in there. So a couple of those, about a tablespoon altogether. It's 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon usually. I'm going to put some ground cumin in, and I use cumin quite a lot. It's really good in curries, and it smells a bit, I don't know, it smells not brilliant, but it's quite aromatic, and it's always used in Indian curries and anything like these wraps, anything with spice, and it gives it a really good base flavour. It's lovely. So teaspoon of that goes in. It's on the recipe anyway. I might be adapting it slightly. The heat comes from the chilli. I use chilli flakes. You can buy massive packs of these, or you can use chilli powder. And again, if you don't like it very hot, don't put much in. That is quite medium to hot. Okay, so you don't need a lot of that. And these are great for obviously chili con carnes and curries and things, and that gives the real heat spice. You can put garlic powder in, or lazy garlic, or minced garlic. A lot of supermarkets, Home Bargains, places like that are selling minced garlic and minced ginger and things like that, which are brilliant to have in your cupboard. But minced garlic cloves, I find we get through quite a lot in our household. So I'm just going to put some garlic in there, and basically just stir that together, and you've got your basic rub. Okay, and probably the garlic powder would be better to actually stir in at this stage. You can put a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper in there just to season it up a little bit. You can have a grind of pepper or salt, or you can just stick a teaspoon in like I'm doing. Okay, and that is your basic seasoning rub for your chicken. As I say, if you haven't got that stuff, or you don't want to use it, or you can't be bothered, this is the easy option. Fajita seasoning mix. Okay, so next is you need to prepare your vegetables. So all it is quite simple. I'm using some red onions, I'm using different coloured peppers, and that's it. So just to decore a pepper, all you do is, well, one way of doing it, I do it like this, just cut off its head, cut off the top with the stalk. You can use that bit, okay, don't throw it away. And then I'm going to just scoop out the middle. You can loosen it with a knife if you like, and just get your fingers in. And you just can, if you give it a tap, the seeds should come out. But those seeds are not like chili pepper seeds, they're not hot. So if you get a few seeds in, it's not the end of the world. And you can cut those, they're called ribs actually. You can understand why when you look at them. You can cut those ribs out when you're slicing it. And all I do with this, I quite like, because you're wrapping it in, putting it in a wrap and wrapping it up, I quite like long lengthways. So I'm not dicing it, I'm going to slice it. So flat bottoms, don't roll. I'm going to go straight down the middle. I'm going to cut those ribs out like that, And if you notice what I'm doing, I'm using the board to take my knife. So if I slip, it's not going to go into my hands. I'm not doing it towards my hand or my arm, I'm doing it towards the chopping board. Okay? And so when it's like that, you can just slice it. And really, you can't really do it the wrong way, really. It's just learning to use a claw or a bridge and just cutting it into slices. So I'm going to slice all my red pepper for this recipe. I'm going to use 1 or 2 peppers. They go off quite quickly, so I've got this one in the fridge from a salad, so I'm just going to slice that one up as well. So I'll do that in a moment. Onions, I've put a sheet in how to dice an onion if you want a reminding. If you look at an onion, it's got a top and a bottom, and it's got, we don't touch the hairy bottom. That's how I get the children to remember it at school. And basically we're going to cut off its head, off with its head, stand it on its flat side so it doesn't roll around, and then right through the root. And if you understand how an onion works, you'll remember how to do it, because the root holds everything together. So once you cut that off, you'll be chasing it around your chopping board. But if you can leave that root on and peel it with the root on, it's much easier to do. And if you can find a knife that suits the size of your hand, but also the vegetable, it's useful, because if you've got a massive onion, like some of these the Spanish onions particularly are really big, and you've got a tiny knife, you can't get through it. So it might be better if I were to do that. But then, sharp knife, don't touch that root, leave it on, using the bridge cut. Look what I've done, the root holds it all together. So when I turn it round and use the claw, I've got a nice dice. Now, to be honest, you can slice as well for this recipe rather than dice. So, so you can slice it. So it's just the same, except we don't turn it. So basically, I'm not going to cut into it. I'm just going to hold it with the claw. Look what I'm doing all the time. I don't profess to be Jamie Oliver, and so I'm looking down at what I'm doing. I'm not looking at the camera talking. You look down all the time when you're using a knife, and you get a nice slice. Okay, so that's my onion, the pepper. I'm going to carry on doing these, and I'll come back and do the chicken. I've just put a couple of spoonfuls of vegetable oil in a frying pan, and I've just fried off the peppers and the onions until they're just going quite soft. I don't want them really cooked, because I like them quite a little bit crunchy or a little bit firm in this recipe. And all I do to stop them overcooking is I just put them in a bowl on the side, and then put a little tiny bit more oil in the pan, with about 2 spoonfuls vegetable oil or sunflower oil, anything like that will do. I think I'm using rapeseed oil. And basically, I am going to cook my chicken. Now, I've cut up most of the chicken. Chicken breasts are pretty lean. There's hardly any fat to get off it. Sometimes you might find a few bits and bobs you don't want in there. So I've just cut those out. And don't forget, if you haven't got a suitable knife to cut, you can always use scissors. Kitchen scissors are fine as long as you just use them for that and wash them well afterwards. So chicken is going into a bowl like that. And I'm going to put my spice mix over the top. There's different ways of doing this. This is just my preferred method, and I'm just going to stir that in, and you can use your fingers if you want to and squidge it all into the chicken. Now, the good thing about this, move that pan off. The good thing about this is if you want to get ready before the night before or the morning, you can get to this stage and leave this with a covered in cling film or with a lid on, and you can leave it so it's ready to fry when you come in from work or come in for the night or from a school run or whatever. So just make sure all the chicken is coated in that nice spicy mixture, and then you can cook it. I'm just going to wash my hands because I've been touching raw chicken. So make sure when you're touching any raw meat, chicken, pork, anything like that you really wash your hands well in hot soapy water, and you try not to use the same equipment. You wash that in hot soapy water. I'll put it in my dishwasher in a moment. So, pan goes on the heat. I'm going to pan fry the chicken, and then when it's ready, I'm going to stick the onions and peppers back in the pan just to heat up, and then you're ready to assemble your fajitas. I'll be back in a minute. So I fried the chicken in a little bit of oil until for about 5-10 minutes. They're only thin pieces of chicken, so they should cook quite quickly, and you can see that they've got quite a nice colour on them. So way to test is always to cut a piece in half to see if it's cooked fully and white all through. And then I'm going to just pour the onions and peppers back in and just heat those through, and then we're ready to assemble the fajitas. Now it's up to you what you put in it. I've got some cheese, we've got a bit of creme fraiche or sour cream, with a little bit of rice. As I said before, you can put some salad in, or some salsa, or some guacamole, whatever you like really. So I'll show you how to fold them when that's heated through. Okay, I've heated the wraps up in the microwave. They only take a couple of seconds per wrap. So I've heated the wrap up just to make it more flexible, and then I'm going to put the chicken and onion and pepper mix down the centre. I'm sure you can work it out how to do it, how to fold it, but there is an easy way of doing it. So I've put my chicken down, vegetables, a little bit of cheese that's going on. That's just, and then I'm just going to fold. You can fold up from the bottom. First is easier, then the side, and then just roll it up, and you have like a wrap that's quite easy to eat. You can cover it with tin foil to make it easier and hold it in place, or you can just eat it now, or you can, as I said at the beginning, it's very similar to an enchilada. Just put that in the oven, covered in tomato, passata and a bit of cheese, and bake it. And that's quite a good thing to get ready in advance, so you can just bake it in the oven for about half an hour. So that's another quite easy dish to come from these ingredients. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.